Hey guys, today we're doing something new. First request was for me to try Energy and Legacy. I have no idea from this format. You will definitely see me suffer a lot, but in theory it should be pretty good because we still have our strong suit of Ocelot, Pride, God of Souls, and Ajani, but Amped Raptor still is legal in Legacy, and most importantly, we can stack our library with Brainstorm and with Ponder to make sure that our Amped Raptor hits are insane. That's why we're also playing Mockingbird, to have more threats, to have access to more of our 1-drops and more of our Amped Raptors. And as a backup, we also have the good tempo interaction suit of Legacy. We have Daze, we have Force of Will, and if we should ever face a creature deck or maybe our opponent reanimate something and we have to handle it on board and we are not dead yet, we still have Swords to Plowshares. Our sideboard is set up in a, I think, pretty easy to handle fashion, which is good for me. We have Hydroblast, Pyroblast for the respective colors, obviously, Consign against colorless decks if there should still be any Eldrazi players or anything like that. Stony Silence against artifacts, Absolute Grace if there is a black deck, and Graphic Escape and Surgical Extraction against Graveyard. So let's hop right into the games and let's see me suffer in Legacy. Game of our first Legacy League. Let's see how it goes. We are on the play, which should most likely help us a lot. We're playing against the Yorion deck. I don't play Legacy. I have no idea what that means. We have a lot of cantrips. We have a Wasteland. And we have a Mockingbird. I think we can try this because we can shuffle away our unnecessary lands with a fetch land and we can ponder to find a threat. Plus we have a Mockingbird for backup. Let's just see how it goes. Let's grab a Tundra, and this is the first ponder I've ever resolved on Magic Online. Those do look pretty decent. I think we will just keep all of those. Put the Ocelot Pride right under our Amped Raptor. I should have put the Ocelot Pride one further down. I forgot I also draw a card. Should have just grabbed the Force of Will, put the Raptor as a second card so we draw it next turn, and then we make sure we cascade into the Ocelot Pride. That's my bad, especially because I also do know that our Amped Raptor will miss right now. That's bad, but we can still make it work by just playing the Ocelot Pride, keeping up Brainstorm. We have potential to grab our Force of Will here, so it's not too bad. I think I should keep the Brainstorm up to grab the Force of Will instead of playing the Mockingbird right here, because maybe there is something scary happening, even though it's the Yorion pile. It's just a Savannah. Swords to Plowshares on our Ocelot, sure. Even though it's not best practice to Brainstorm end of turn, I think I want to Brainstorm end of turn to make sure I can set up for our Amped Raptor and Wasteland next turn. Two Force of Wills and an Ajani, that's pretty nice. We will put back one of the Force of Wills and the Ajani. Make sure it's the right way around. First the Ajani, then the Force of Will. So we can Amped Raptor into the Ajani. Let's just get rid of our opponent's Tundra. Make him waste his mana. Opponent plays a preemptive Duress down. That's pretty annoying because I do want to cascade. I think to keep up the pressure I will actually do this, pitch the other Force of Will to have another Amped Raptor next turn. See if our opponent does anything against it. Lets it resolve, so let's hope our Amped Raptor does as well. That's nice, we hit our Ajani. We knew about that one. And we are set. We actually draw another Force of Will. Let's just head to combat first, and then we can possibly copy our Ajani to make sure we flip it, or we can copy our Amped Raptor to cascade some more. I don't even know if this deck plays any surveillance. It doesn't. So let's just grab a Volcanic Island to make sure we have one of each. And I think I will actually copy the Ajani to make sure I have a Planeswalker right here. And because of our Amped Raptor, we do have a red permanent to start shooting. Opponent finds the natural terminus. That's pretty annoying. Any order. And has a leyline binding to answer our Ajani. That's pretty bad. Did not expect to see miracles right here. Let's just play our land. Move on with our life. And just keep passing. We'll let the endurance resolve because I don't think countering an endurance right here is a game-winning move. It's not fast clock and we still have a lot of time. Just take the hit. And grabs his Yorion back. We have a wasteland, let's just play it and keep up force of will. The domain count of our opponent doesn't really matter right now, so we won't go after the Thunder's Launch, because we don't have anything on board to make his leyline binding, even with casting. We take another hit, opponent just attacks with endurance. Nothing cast so far. Let's see if he maybe plays Yorion. He doesn't, so we'll just keep everything up. Find a Swords to Plowshares, move to our opponent's turn. And maybe we'll Swords to Plowshares his endurance at the end of the next turn. There is another endurance that's pretty annoying. But I think we still just have to let it resolve because we know our opponent has Yorion on hand. And that could do much worse things. Take another hit, Swords to Plowshares, end of turn. Get rid of one of those endurances. See if our opponent cards anything. He doesn't. Find something. I guess this guide is not even worth casting. Because we do need something else to trigger our energy and we would just enable our opponent's removal. So we will just keep it at our hand. Opponent casts Solitude. Can just daze it. Hardcast. And now we will wasteland our opponent's lounge, because that way he doesn't get to cast his Yorion. Take another hit. Opponent plays up the Beanstalk and cycles Yorion Reveal to find another land. We do find another Guide of Souls, so maybe if we are really lucky, we can gain some life and potentially stabilize, but I doubt. Yeah, there is another Leyland Binding. Answers our Guide of Souls. We don't get any life, we have to jump block. We are pretty much out of it, especially because he also drew the card and he does have Yorion. The Fairy to bounce. That's game one. Now, on to sideboarding. Let's see what we have. I think we do want our Hydro and Pyroblast, and our Force of Will do look really lackluster. I'm not sure if there's anything else worth bringing in, because I just want to stop our opponent's counters and draw for less mana and more card quantity. So I'll hope this might just be enough. Game number 2, we will be on the play again. And our hand looks keepable. We can unfortunately not set up for our Amped Raptor with this Brainstorm. Unless we wait for turn 3 or something like that, but we can set up for the next one. Also, by sporting out our Force of Wills, our Amped Raptor hit quality and probability goes up by a lot. Let's just see where it goes. Swords to Plowshare is definitely not the best top deck, but let's just see what the wheel does. Spin that wheel. Does our opponent have an answer? Possibly just Blue Blast. That's exactly what happens. But it's not too bad, we can Brainstorm next turn and shuffle away our bad cards. Opponent finds up the Beanstalk, that's pretty bad for us. Let's just Brainstorm and see what we get. Shuffle those away. I will grab a Plateau, play my Guide of Souls, and keep up Pyroblast. Opponent has Swords to Plowshares for our Guide of Souls. That's pretty bad because we don't have a target for our Mockingbird. Tries to ponder, we will definitely stop that. Let's counter target spell if it is blue. And we will next turn for sure Wasteland Discs under the Lounge. I'm up first to see if we find anything interesting. We do actually. Let's just grab Ajani. Use our Wasteland. And now we will play Ajani. We make a token, we still have days up. So we are protected by some stuff. Triumph of Catherine. If he wants to Miracle, we can actually daze it, which is pretty sweet. Let's counter this. Grab our Volcanic Island. And hope that happens. It does. We'll play Mockingbird. Take our opponent for 3. Then we play the Mockingbird and we still have our red Elemental Blast up. Copy Ajani, keeps original to flip him. And let's make another cat. Let's hope this somehow is enough. Another up the Beanstalk. It doesn't affect our board, so we are fine with it, even though it is really annoying for our opponent to have that much card advantage. We will uptick Ajani to hit our opponent for 9 right now, to have a 2-turn clock. I will just play the Flooded Strand. Maybe I should keep it in hand here to potentially shuffle it away with a Brainstorm. Speaking of which, let's stop that. And hope our opponent doesn't have an answer for our board. Looks like there is nothing coming. Do find another Wasteland. Let's just get rid of our opponent's Savannah, so he doesn't have green mana. Opponent plays Press Down. Unless there is a miracle, it's no miracle. We do have game. For game 3, I think I'll just run it back. I'm still kinda bummed that we don't have a good way of answering hits up the Beanstalks, but I think it's just what it is. We just have to push through and hope our opponent doesn't find enough removal for our creatures. Game number 3. This hand has no land, so we have to mulligan. In this hand, if we could cast Amp Raptor, this hand would be absolutely nuts, but we do have our Wasteland and a Guide of Souls, so I think I can try to keep it because we also have a stock up for late game insurance. And let's just put away the Swords to Plowshares. Opponent just starts with Flooded Strand, nothing special. We draw our Swords to Plowshares again, play our Guide of Souls, and just pass. Opponent surveils Uro into his yard and has a Wasteland of his own. Question is, does he go for the Wasteland? If he does, we'll just reset both of us down to 0 lands. And I am fine with doing that. That's what happens. Let's just Wasteland our opponent. And let's just see where it goes from 0. Opponent has a Boseiju. We just play our planes to make sure our opponent couldn't play another Wasteland, and we just have to be lucky and draw a red source. No up the Beanstalk from our opponent is huge, so we'll just play our Tundra, keep up days, and maybe we will be lucky to get something. Opponent has another Wasteland, that's pretty gnarly. Would love to return it to my hand with the days. But we do find a Flooded Strand, that's great. Now we can just grab our Volcanic Island and play Amped Raptor. And due to the power of days, we can still protect our Raptor. Our opponent doesn't have anything. We don't cast our Swords to Plowshares on our own Raptor, but that's still okay with us. Opponent has Caracas. Opponent is absolutely color screwed. And just picks up Yorion. We could go for a Brainstorm right here to try to stack something for our Amped Raptor if we find another land. And I really like this idea because if we can Amped Raptor into our stock up, we are absolutely golden. We just have to find a red land, which we do. That's great. Let's shuffle away our Swords to Plowshares. And I think I will shuffle away. I can't do that. No, I have to fetch for it. Let's get rid of. I guess let's just get rid of those two because we do have our Raptors. Or let's just we get rid of another Brainstorm. I absolutely do want to get rid of the Swords to Plowshares. That's for certain. And I think I'll just get rid of the other Brainstorm. Let's see what we can get off of our Blind Raptor. Opponent plays a Force of Will. We'll counter the Force of Will by returning our Volcanic Island. Amped Raptor hits the field and finds a Goblin Bombardment. That's great. That's our modern classic. We like to see that. Opponent plays Misty and fetches for basic island. Opponent casts the Brainstorm. That's obviously really scary. But we, fortunately enough, do have some insurance by being able to sacrifice our Amped Raptors into the bombardment. And we can just cast the stock up now to make sure we have a stacked hand. So let's go into our turn. We could potentially try to go for a high roll by pondering and looking if there's an Ajani on top. If we played Amped Raptor into Ajani, we would have 4 creatures, hit our opponent for 4 with the Amped Raptors down to 11, sacrifice our cat, ping him down to 10, flip Ajani, make a cat token, shoot him down to 6, and then we would have still 4 creatures on board. So we would be able to deal a lot of damage. But I think that's too greedy, so I will just go for the stock up as a safer play. And we do find a Daze, and I think the other one we will take is an Ocelot Pride. Because that way we can maybe counter something with our Daze. And next turn we won't necessarily be able to cast Amped Raptor into Mockingbird for another Amped Raptor, so I will just go with a safer line. Opponent has Triumph of St. Catherine. What does it do again? When this creature is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it. Okay. Great, so it's just a really annoying blocker. And it has a lifelink. Now the Hedge Maze for our opponent. Let's play our land beforehand so we can maybe ponder into another cantrip to make sure we have a great setup for our Amped Raptor. Grab a Tundra. Play Ponder. And I will just shuffle our library. That's a bad hit, but so be it. Let's see what our Amped Raptor gets us. It doesn't get us anything because it just gets Hyroblasted. Play Ocelot Pride. And we unfortunately don't have any good attacks because of the Triumph of St. Catherine. Opponent plays a Ponder of himself. Plays another land. Opponent is up to 5 lands already. Opponent is down to 2 cards in hand. I think our only real shot at winning is by hoping our opponent forgot our creatures have first strike, and that he maybe just set up a board web for the next turn. Or that he maybe only has a Solitude as an answer to our creatures, so we will just go for the triple block and hope our opponent only has Solitude or forgot we have first strike, because I don't see us winning otherwise. Nice! Our opponent forgot we have first strike. I was told Legacy players don't really know how creature combat works, and I was not disappointed. Let's play a Wasteland. Attack our opponent. Opponent does have the Solitude. He really just didn't think about first strike, so we will just counter the Solitude. And we have lethal. Hit our opponent for 5. Down to 6. Ah, we are 1 off. My bad. Make 2 cats. Let's just get rid of the Karaka so our opponent doesn't have 2 white sources. Now opponent is down to 6 life, virtually down to 1 because of our Goblin Bombardment. Opponent is tapping 4 mana. Probably just to grab back his Uro. That's what's happening. Still has 1 planes up. But I think with our Goblin Bombardment we should still be pretty safe. There is another mana. Because we can attack with our entire board and just sacrifice the creature he blocks. Let's go in. Opponent blocks 1 of the Amp Raptors. Let's go for the first strike damage just because we can. There's Sword of Plowshares and also Lot of Pride. Let's sacrifice that. Let's sacrifice the Amp Raptor. Opponent goes down to perfect 3. And we do have lethal. Opponent could have Swords to Plowshares his own Oro. But he still would have pretty much been dead. Nice! On to the next game. Game 2 of trying to see if Energy is also a viable legacy deck. We do have a Ponder and a Guide of Souls into Ajani and Amp Raptor. I think this is a keep. It might be bad because we might have to use our Ponder for our Force of Will. But I have no idea what legacy is, so let's just try. Opponent plays a Skullington, a beautiful looking Skullington, into an Underground Seas, and plays a Tamio. What deck plays Tamio? I don't want to find out, so I will just get rid of Tamio. Opponent ponders, sure. Opponent is done pondering, plays a Polluted Delta, and let's see what he's got. Another Tamio. Okay, opponent really likes Tamio. I guess we have to live with that. So let's just wait for our opponent to do anything, I guess. Let's just grab a Volcanic Island and I will spin my wheel. Our only real bad hits are the Force of Wills. What did we hit? We hit a Daze. That's also a bad hit, but I can live with that. We could have played Ajani first to have Guide of Souls into Amp Raptor, but our only hit that needs more energy is Force of Will, which is no hit off of the Amp Raptor either way. We could have waited a bit longer to cast the Ponder beforehand, but I think I just try to go for the high roll and hope for the best of it. Opponent attacks with Tamio, that's sure. We take 0 damage, but our opponent makes a clue token. Plays a Brainstorm to flip Tamio. That's kinda annoying, but I think we are fine because we can play Guide of Souls into Ajani to buff our Amp Raptor next turn to still almost deal with Tamio. Usually Tamio uptick is one of the most annoying things against energy decks of all kind, because we do have a lot of small critters, but I don't think Brainstorm is worth countering right here. Another cantrip. Opponent is spinning their wheels, as you say. So let's just play Tundra, play Guide of Souls. Opponent was done tanking about our Guide of Souls, so let's just play Ajani, make our energy, and hit Tamio for 3. Tamio will reduce the power of our Amp Raptor. That's totally fine, because we can still buff it and make sure our opponent can't get back another spell. Tamio down to 1. And we have Force of Will plus Daze as a backup. I think we're looking pretty good. Opponent has spent half the game just cantripping and setting up the hand, so maybe there's something scary happening. But our opponent is down to 4 cards right now. He does have 1 clue token. He will draw his 5th card once he goes through his upkeep. I don't know why he's stuck there right now, but we do still have a good bit of interaction. While our opponent is stopped stuck in his upkeep just as I started to talk. One thing I just realized that I will change. You know, I'm still adapting, I'm still working on upgrading my content. I want to engage with you guys. I want to play decks, play formats that you want to see. And I just realized that on our thumbnail, the modern, our format logo is too far down, so that once you started watching a video on your phone, the progress bar will be in front of it. So I already know how I can improve my thumbnails once again. Opponent plays Tamio. We don't really care. Go ahead, opponent. We find a Mockingbird. That's absolutely great. We could ponder beforehand, before we copy our Amped Raptor, or we can just go for a Ajani copy again. We do have a red permanent right here, and we have a lot of stuff to protect it. It's a close call, because especially if we go for Ponder, and we don't find another blue card to get, we don't have both interaction spells up. But I think I will go for it, because finding something good off of Amped Raptor would definitely win us the game right now. Unfortunately, we find complete and utter trash, so we will shuffle. We find an Ocelot Pride, that's also pretty good. So I think I will go for the Ocelot Pride. Or do I? If I don't go for the Raptor right now, I won't have the ability to pump another creature with Agada Souls to get rid of the one Tamio. The opponent will be able to grab back another card. But if we play the Ocelot Pride, we will go absolutely bonkers wide. I think I will just go for Mockingbird. We do have a little less protection now, but that should still be fine, I think. Now we could go for Hyra by copying Amped Raptor, but we could also play it safe by copying Ajani. And I think I am already going a bit more aggressive. So I will go for Ajani and be able to remove both Tamios. We can zero our Ajani, kill the Tamio that's a creature, swing at the Tamio that's a planeswalker, and get rid of both of those. Opponent casts a Petty Theft, we will just daze that. Now we are hoping our opponent doesn't have anything else. That's pretty nice for us, because I also think we did not have a land drop yet. So we can, in addition to all of that, play Ocelot Pride. Let's just get rid of this. Yes, we did not have a land drop before, so we also play Ocelot Pride. This one goes our opponent scoops. Nice. On to sideboarding yet again. I'm not quite sure what our opponent is doing. It most likely is some sort of Reanimator variant, I guess, as far as I am concerned with Legacy. So Surgical Extraction probably is a good card, but I don't know. I already do know that our opponent is playing lots of blue cards. So I will take in the Pyroblast. With what I expect to happen, our opponent being on some sort of Reanimator variant, I think I'm fine with shaving some Mockingbirds to have more interaction and shaving some Swords to Plowshares. I do have to somehow consider taking in Surgical Extraction and Gravedigger's Cage, but because I don't quite know what our opponent is running, I'm not sure if I actually want to play those. So I will, for game number 2, run it like this. I will be a bit cold to resolve Psychic Frog, which might be bad. So I think Pyroblast does remove Psychic Frog on board. It does work as a counter spell. We do have Daze and Force of Will. I think it should work if it's just a normal mid-range variant, which I don't even know exists in Legacy. Let's move on to game number 2. Game number 2, our hand is looking absolutely stunning. Let's keep it. We have Pyroblast as good interaction. We have Guide of Souls and double Ajani with Amped Raptor. So we are pretty stacked as I'm concerned. Opponent plays Tamio again. We do find a Brainstorm. That's also pretty interesting. But I think for now, I will just go ahead, grab a Plateau actually, and play a Guide of Souls. I will keep up both Pyroblast and Brainstorm for the next turn, so in case our opponent plays something like a Psychic Frog, we can get rid of the Psychic Frog, and Brainstorm to set up for our Interrupter. Let's see what our opponent throws at us. Plays a basic swamp, attacks us with Tamio. That's to be expected. Is there a Psychic Frog in my future? There is a Brainstorm. Also, I just realized one thing. I think Psychic Frog is banned in Legacy. So this must be some sort of unfair deck. There's no shot this deck has a fair angle. Opponent flips that Tamio. Upticks Tamio. And it's our turn. Now, we could keep up Pyroblast, we could keep up Brainstorm. I think best course of action is to just try to get rid of Tamio and keep up Brainstorm to set up for Raptor into Ajani next turn. And if we should draw anything bad, we can shuffle it away with our Arid Mesa. So let's just hit our opponent for 0 because of Tamio. But we still swing in for the respect. Opponent's turn. Goes to his main phase, doesn't wait in his upkeep as long as he did the other games. Plays Polluted Delta and corrects it immediately. I will also try to cut out most of the parts where our opponents are just tanking alternatively, so you probably did not even realize how long our opponent has tanked the entire game. Opponent plays a Barrow-Glyph. I've never seen that Glyph. I have no idea what it does. It's a Tarmogoyf that does more things, I guess. So I'm really happy with those pulls. Let's just put back Ajani and a Wasteland that we can draw next turn. And let's daze the Barrow-Glyph. Opponent does have a Force of Will, so he does resolve his Barrow-Glyph. But we are still absolutely fine with that because we know we will cast Raptor, hit our Ajani, and we will go wide and tall. Cast Ajani off of Raptor, make some more energy, make a cat token, swing at our opponent in the air. Opponent is down to 2 cards. He does draw another one, and he does have the clue token, but our opponent can't really attack with the Barrow-Glyph because we get to block with our cat token and just flip Ajani. What our opponent doesn't know that even if he doesn't attack, we can still play another Ajani and just flip our Ajani on our own accord. Opponent plays an Engineered Explosives on X equals 2. That's really terrifying because next turn he does get to get rid of most of our stuff. Fortunately enough, he did miss a land drop. Opponent is thinking about attacking. If he does, we will just block with our Cat Warrior token, play our Ajani, make another Cat token, shoot at our Ajani, and we will be absolutely happy. Now, this destroys every non-land permanent with a mana value. So playing Ajani right now would be bad. I think best course of action is to just destroy our opponent's Underground Seas, keep up Pyroblast, and next turn play another Ajani to follow up with our Guide of Souls. And I will also attack with the Cat Warrior token right now, because if our opponent does block, we can flip the Ajani and still deal some more damage to our opponent, while also making another energy, which would be really important for the next turn, so we can pump our Guide of Souls once more. Opponent casts Entomb, so he is playing Reanimator, which I should have known. Puts away an Archon of Cruelty. So let's move to combat. Attack our opponent with these 2 beautiful creatures. We could have kept back the Cat Warrior token also. If our opponent doesn't block, the 2 damage are not as important, and to have a blocker so Barrow-Glyph does not activate his ability. But I think I am fine with that. Now we could get rid of the Barrow-Glyph by playing the Ajani, flipping, and we do have another Cat token then as well. Yeah, should have probably done that beforehand to get a pump. Our opponent does get rid of our Planeswalker as well, but we do have more Cat token, and we do get rid of the Barrow-Glyph. I should have done that beforehand to pump our token, but maybe our opponent would have blocked. Our opponent just scoops. Perfect. Match number 3, and we definitely have to mulligan. We have no pressure and 2 counter spells. That's bad. Let's see what we have. This looks okay-ish. We do have a brainstorm to find a white source. I will keep this and I will put back either the Swords to Plowshares or the Mockingbird. I think I'll put away the Swords to Plowshares because as far as I'm concerned, Legacy is a creature-like format, so I think the Force of Will might be more valuable. Let's see it if I will get punished. Opponent goes to his first turn and thinks. Mox Opal, some sort of artifact deck. Lotus Petal. Maybe some sort of storm deck? Mishra's Bauble? Ancient Tomb. Okay. Our opponent is trying to do some illegal stuff. I think the Painter deck plays some similar cards. Let's just get rid of the Ancient Tomb and hope our opponent doesn't have anything disgusting for now. Hull Breacher already. Okay, I definitely want to get rid of that. Let's pitch our Mockingbird and hope that our opponent doesn't have anything more terrifying to do right here. Back to our opponent, Urza's Saga. Okay, Hull Breacher, Urza's Saga. I have no idea what the entirety of this deck is, but it probably is some sort of wheel effect to cycle us. It has a lot of fast mana to probably get to those things faster. But for now, it looks like we are alive, because our opponent is also down to 2 cards. And one of his mana sources is a Lotus Petal, so it is kind of risky for him to do anything, because then the Mox Opal is also inactive. We find another Swords to Plowshares. Would have been nice against the Hull Breacher before, but so be it. We had to use our Force of Will. I think that's still totally okay. We will see what our opponent does. Places Porphoric Springs, untap, pays his 3 life. What do you have, opponent? Plays an Emery. Let's just brainstorm now. We have the Swords to Plowshares against her. We get rid of our land and our Ponder to make sure we draw the Ponder. And then we can Ponder plus Swords to Plowshares next turn. Opponent mills a Kappa Cannoneer, so it is Affinity. Okay. Back to our turn. We know that there is a land on top of our library. I'm not too thrilled with that, so I will just fetch it right now. Grab ourselves a Chandra, Swords to Plowshares Emery, and then Ponder. Let's see what our opponent has to say about this. Makes a construct in response to the Swords to Plowshares. Really important to do that now, because it still keeps up Metalcraft for this one. We don't want any of that. Let's just shuffle, still draw another Force of Will, and hope that our Amp Raptor can do something good next turn, because we will be under a lot of pressure by those big construct tokens. Opponent corrects his Mithras Bauble because he can just grab another artifact with the Urza's Saga next turn to still have Metalcraft. Sees what we have on top of our library and goes to their turn. Good thing is that our opponent can't make another construct because he doesn't have Metalcraft right now. So he has to just float the mana. Opponent grabs a Grindstone, so he is a combo deck. Opponent grabs a Grindstone, so he's some sort of combo deck, and plays an Urza's Bauble. Let's hope our opponent doesn't have a Painter right now. Plays a Sword card, digs for his combo piece. Casts Emery, so we are still fine. Emery mills, Sile, Top the Wrist, Lotus Petal, and Mox Opal, so nothing special. Bauble was already there before. Opponent plays another Urza's Bauble, down to 1 card in hand. No Cannoneer, luckily enough, but the construct does hit us for 5. Opponent cracks an Urza's Bauble in our keep. Not quite sure about that timing. And cracks a second one in our upkeep. We do draw Days. We could play Ajani to have a blocker for the construct token, but I think we have to go for Amp Raptor and try to high roll into something to maybe remove the Emery or just go a bit wider. We do find an Ocelot Pride. Good thing is that we do have Daze and Force of Will to possibly deal with a Cannoneer that he might play from his graveyard, or even a Painter that he could have. Opponent plays an Urza Saga. Shadow Spear. That is really annoying with the construct, but I think we have to let it resolve, because we can still try to go wide with Ocelot and Ajani. And maybe we will be fine through all of that. Opponent still has his Emery ready. The question is if he does just go for some card draw. He has a Sword Cast. I think I will actually use my Force of Will right here, because he will get to dig for more answers, counter spells, and his Painter Servant. Probably was a bad idea, not gonna lie, because he does have Emery to recur stuff. But because he has Emery to recur stuff, I don't think countering Painter would do anything. So stopping him from drawing the cards in the first place sounds kinda okay to me. Let's just see where it goes. Opponent activates Emery to grab back another Mox Opal. So he wants to go for Shadows Beyond's construct and try to gain some life. That's exactly what happens. Opponent tries to hit us for 5. We just let it happen. Good thing is that our Ocelot Pride can gain us some life back and create summer blockers next turn, especially with Ajani to create a lot of chump blockers, even though we are still in absolute danger because of the trample here. So I will also keep back the Amped Raptor in hopes of having enough toughness to not just die next turn. Urza Saga goes up to 2. Let's see if he makes a construct or anything like that. Doesn't seem like it for now. But opponent has 2 cards in hand and the Emery on board. And opponent plays a Sai. That's pretty annoying, because now he can also go wide, and his creatures also do fly. So we can start attacking our Ajani when he's flipped, even with us having lots of creatures. Opponent grabs a Lotus Petal from Emery, which is interesting. Because he has another Sword Monitor. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Opponent draws more cards, makes more Thopters, and we're possibly just dead to the Construct token. There is another Grindstone. This means there is even more creatures. Luckily enough, we can go to 1 and still flip our Ajani, and I think that's our only real hope. Try to somehow survive 1 more turn, get some life with our Guide of Souls, but realistically speaking, we are dead. We do find another Ajani, but we can't do anything really impressive. Our opponent will just trample over it, so let's just scoop it up. So, on to sideboarding, let's see what we have. We definitely have Stony Silence, we definitely have Pyroblast, and we definitely have Consign to Memory. But I'm not even that sure if Consign is any good, because our opponent does have Painters to stop Consign to Memory, and most of the stuff is actually blue, so I think I won't go for Consign. I have 5 things to cut. Maybe we get rid of our Force of Will and shave 1 Mockingbird. Let's see how it goes. Game 2, we are on the play, and our hand looks pretty decent. We can turn 1, play our Guide of Souls, have Days, we have Ajani for later, we have Brainstorm to find stuff. Definitely a keep. Opponent also keeps 7, so let's just start with our Arid Mesa, grab our Tundra, play Guide of Souls, and have Days up for the future. Opponent plays Mox Opal after Seed of the Signet. Our Days doesn't look too hot because we unfortunately can't stop Emery right here. That's kinda sad, but it is what it is. Opponent finds a Shadow Spear and a Grindstone. I think that's okay. We just play Ajani and hit our opponent for some respect points, even though our opponent can just block freely. Also, damn, I am so dumb. I could have dazed the Emery. He didn't have Metalcraft. What am I doing? Like, guys, that's what happens when you play a format that you don't usually play. You don't think about stuff. If I was in Modern, I would have realized it's only 2 artifacts. Right here in Legacy, I just saw artifact land. Opponent must have Must have Magicraft. Don't even worry about it. That's what bad decisions do to you. And now Mox Opal is active, and now I probably won't ever daze anything ever again. Ah, what am I doing? Opponent has a Grindstone. Uses Emery to grid Grindstone. Maybe we can get a Painter, surprise, surprise, because our opponent also thinks we don't have anything. Let's see how it goes. Let's hope for the best. Opponent pays cost, probably it's just a Grindstone. And it's the Painter Servant, first and foremost. Okay, opponent has a Painter Servant, and opponent will cast the Grindstone. We definitely have to stop the Grindstone. Everything is blue. Would have been fun if our opponent made everything red, because that way our Ajani would have been live because our lands were red. Luckily enough, doesn't have anything else. Let's play another Ajani. Get some more energy, flip our Ajani. Yes. And we will uptick our Ajani. So maybe we can take something from our opponent. What? Why didn't this cat attack? I pressed attack all. Okay. I guess I didn't click on attack all. This match is falling apart. Oh my god. Opponent takes a 3, should have taken 3 more. And our opponent just needs a land drop to combo us without us being able to intervene. But that's just a Mishra's Bauble. Maybe we are lucky. Let's just make our opponent use the mana so he can't combo us. It's not good, but it's a thing. It also possibly buys us enough time that our Ajani might do something. I mean, our opponent can just sacrifice everything but the Servant and the Grindstone. So it doesn't even do anything. But we will see where it takes us. Maybe our opponent sacrifices bad things to our Ajani ult. So maybe, just maybe, we can still go on, because Ajani only makes our opponent sacrifice non-lands. Opponent has an Urza's Saga. That's also not too good. Luckily enough, we do live for another turn that most likely doesn't do anything. Mishra's Bauble. Opponent knows what we're drawing. I wish I knew what I was drawing myself into once I've registered for Legacy. Sure. So, opponent. Let me know what you're up to, and let me know what you're gonna sacrifice to my Ajani ult. No, I actually found an Amped Raptor. I will go for the Amped Raptor in hopes of drawing something, because our 0 can now get rid of the Painter Servant or the Emery. So if we find a removal right here, we can answer both, so our opponent possibly can't combo us next turn. We just find a Brainstorm. Those are some really interesting cards, but unfortunately they don't do anything for us. Let's just put them back like this. Let's just kill the Painter Servant, and maybe our opponent is missing another land drop. If our opponent is missing another land drop, we actually got him. Because our creatures are huge right now. And luckily enough, the 3 damage don't come back to bite us. If our opponent would go down to 3 life right now, I would be crying. But he goes to 6, so those 3 damage from the hit before, luckily enough, don't matter. And now let's just hope our opponent does not have a 3rd mana. So he can only play the Painter Servant, it does activate the Mox Opal, but he only has 2 mana to activate the Grindstone. Maybe, just maybe, we are lucky enough. Opponent plays a Painter Servant from hand, but he does not have a mana source in the yard, so Emery does not ramp in right now. There is still hope. Also, opponent now chooses green with his Painter Servant to be fancy. Plays an island, and we are dead. Match number 4 after spectacularly blundering our game against Painter. Our opponent starts with a mulligan. We do have a wasteland and a daze to maybe punish a mulligan, but that's too many lands. So we'll just mulligan as well. And that's Ponder, Bombardment, and Force of Will with a wasteland. I think that can't find that stuff to do things, so I will keep this. Let's put away one of our lands and see what our opponent has to offer. Opponent plays a Polluted Delta, so it probably is another Reanimator deck. I would think so. Let's just ponder and see what we can find. Also, Goblin Bombardment plus Ajani. Everybody that plays Modern here knows that's our bread and butter. I actually do like those cards. Let's grab those. So we have something for our Force of Will, and we do have a Brainstorm to get rid of our bad cards. Opponent grabs an Undercity Sewer, so it's most likely Reanimator. This time, I know beforehand that Psychic Frog is no longer Legacy legal, so I know what to play around, what to expect. Opponent has a Wasteland, so opponent resets us, and we will just return the favor. Let's just both stay in the Stone Age. Opponent goes for a Brainstorm in response. That's okay. We just want to keep our interaction for the dangerous things. Opponent goes into his main phase, plays another land. Do you have anything right now? Maybe a Tamio? Maybe an Entomb. That's a Swamp, so a discard spell? Yeah, opponent plays a Swordseize. We'll just let that happen. Opponent took out Brainstorms. It's kinda annoying, but I'm still fine with that. We can just play our Arid Mesa, have Daze up, have Force of Will up, and next turn start putting some pressure on the board. Opponent plays a Polluted Delta, plays a Nethergoyf. That's a pretty good creature, I have been told. Let's just go to our turn. Nice, we find a Brainstorm. Let's grab a Volcanic Island, play a Tundra, and play our Ajani. Opponent is... One of the good things about Ajani right here is that it stops our opponent from profitably attacking with Nethergoyf, because we can just block with the cat, flip our Ajani, and have infinite blockers for it. Let's see what our opponent does with his Underground Seas. Opponent plays the Daze and returns his land. Let's just Force up with the Daze, because we definitely need this Ajani to resolve, and I will pitch my Brainstorm to have another Daze up. Ajani does resolve. So unless our opponent has something like a Fatal Push, we should definitely be good right here and can just block the Nethergoyf for eternity. Maybe we should have gotten rid of the Daze to still have Brainstorm now and dig for something else, but just with the Goblin Bombardment, I am really happy with it. Opponent gets rid of our lands, so we are punished, but we should still be fine. Can't draw one of our cantrips, we can just draw another land. We don't, but we do find a Swords to Plowshares, which is also pretty nice against the Nethergoyf to just handle it permanently. So let's out our opponent for 3 and take away the life he just gained from our swords. Opponent plays the Underground Seas again, plays a Ponder. That's pretty good. Our opponent can definitely find something interesting here. Especially because our opponent knows that we have the Daze, it loses a lot of its surprise factor. But we do find a Plateau. Never didn't have it. So let's just play the Goblin Bombardment, attack our opponent for 3, sacrifice a cat, flip our Ajani, make another cat, shoot our opponent, and we are good to go. Ping you, good sir. Flip Ajani. Yield to our Goblin Bombardment triggers. Yes, we want to do that. Opponent goes down to 11 and opponent goes down to 10. Also, I think Planeswalker removal is few and far between in Legacy, so having Ajani with Goblin Bombardment should be a good security for a longer game. Opponent has another land and just passes to us. We like to see that, especially with another Force of Will. We are golden. I don't think there's a lot our opponent can do right here. Let's just shoot him again and hit him down to 6. Next turn, our opponent will die to Ajani and Goblin Bombardment, sacrificing our cats, even if he has a blocker. Opponent has an Orcish Bowmaster, and I think I have to just use my Force of Will against this. Because with our opponent being at 6 life, he can't reanimate one of the scary creatures. So I think there's no real way out for our opponent now. Opponent plays another Ponder, but as already mentioned, I don't think there's even an out for our opponent right here. Because even another Bowmaster, we can sacrifice our creature. Yes! We got it! On to the next. Sideboarding. This time, I do remember it is an actual Reanimator deck, so we do want the Gravedigger's Cage and the Surgical Extractions. And I'm not even sure if Pyroblast is that good against them. Against an unfair strategy like this, I think we want to keep our Force of Will, and I think we can definitely get rid of 1 or 2 of the Mockingbirds and 1 or 2 of our Swords to Plowshares. Swords to Plowshares is good against the Lurgoyf, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe a thing we could do is also trim on a daze, but I think I want to keep Guide of Swords, Ursula Pride. Mockingbird is also really good against Orcish Bowmaster, I just realized by copying that. Maybe I keep 1 of those, maybe I trim 1 daze, and I will try it like that. Game number 2, and our hand is absolute doo-doo. Let's mulligan. Our opponent also mulligan to 6, and we have a no-lander, so we have to mulligan again. Down to 5, but this hand actually looks pretty decent. Let's get rid of 1 of all of these. I think I want to keep a second Ponder, so I can Force of Will in a pinch, and Ponder should allow us to find another land. So let's see what our opponent plays turn 1. There is just Polluted Delta. Opponent fetches, grabs an Underground Seas, and Tamiyo or Thoughtseize. It's Tamiyo. That's okay with us. We do find a Tundra, that's also pretty neat. But I will already just play a Guide of Souls to make sure we have something on board, even though our opponent is really likely to flip Tamiyo with a Brainstorm next turn, so our Guide of Souls alone can't attack profitably. Opponent has a Fatal Push, that's an unpleasant surprise. Also, I forgot to side in Absolute Grace. Should have done that. We do have that card on our board for a reason. Opponent does not have another land drop. That's pretty interesting, so let's just Ponder. Opponent plays the Force of Will on our Ponder, so he will definitely not be too happy with us having a land and another Ponder. That's why we immediately followed up with it. Opponent also exiled Kaito. Those cards are pretty juicy, and I think I will protect our Gravedigger's Cage in our hand from a potential discard spell. And I will keep Ajani at my side right now. Opponent goes straight to combat, hits us with Tamiyo, makes another clue. It seems that our opponent is missing another land drop, and hopefully doesn't have a draw spell. Opponent has a Brainstorm. I think I want to stop that, because our opponent is missing its land drops, and our opponent flipping Tamiyo right here would be devastating. But right now, we do have Ajani, we do have the Gravedigger's Cage, so we can create a decent bit of pressure for our opponent to struggle to deal with. And if our opponent manages to flip Tamiyo, we are in a lot of trouble, because we don't have a way of attacking or killing her right now. Remember, we do actually need the red elemental blasts. Opponent appears to still miss land drops. Let's just Ponder. Those are pretty good again. I think we'll put the plateau on the bottom, and I think we keep the Ocelot Pride on top and play the Ocelot Pride right now. So next turn we have our Ocelot Pride to attack, that we can get live already, and play the Gravedigger's Cage after copying our Ocelot Pride. Our only real problem right here would be our opponent being able to flip Tamiyo, because then our go white army would not really do anything. Let's just play our Graphic Cage and see if our opponent has a counter. He doesn't. We could still wait another turn with our Mockingbird to play around Days and to copy Ajani to go tall as well. That's probably better. So let's just attack our opponent as is. Opponent blocks our cat. That's reasonable. Opponent takes 2 damage. We go up to 19 and start making tokens. Opponent does find a second land drop, but doesn't do anything else. Looking good for us. Now we have a land and we can play our Mockingbird while playing around Days. And we will definitely try to flip our Ajani to grow our army. Copy Ajani, choose the original, sacrifice the other one, flip Ajani, make another cat. Let's uptick Ajani so our token can deal some hefty damage. What does our opponent have? Our opponent has an Orcish Bowmaster. That's pretty annoying because it can get rid of our Ocelot Pride right now. But we are still totally cruising. We do have a lot of big cats right now. We can just attack. I will just attack with the big one because you can freely chump the smaller one with Tamio without anything happening. Maybe he does. Maybe he double blocks, but I wouldn't even mind. And he does. Opponent's turn. What do you have, opponent? We are in top deck mode. Our opponent has 4 cards and 3 clues. So there's a lot of stuff that could happen. But good thing is we have insurance with our Graphic Cage. Blue Elemental Blast against Ajani. That's really unfortunate because the backside is both white and red. Opponent probably does not attack. He does not. We find a Brainstorm. Let's just see what it got. Those are some really good hits. Let's put away 1 Raptor and the Guide of Souls. 2 hit. A Guide of Souls off of our Amped Raptor. Those are nasty hits. We do find Guide of Souls. And next turn we have another Raptor with our Guide of Souls on board. We attack with both cats this time. And now it's our opponent's turn. Opponent obviously just blocks the small cat, but we do give our opponent the option to sacrifice Tamio in case he wants to. Opponent passes through our turn apparently. Yes, and we do have the second Amped Raptor. That's really nasty. I would keep open the white and blue in case we find a cantrip, so we can potentially play something else again. And let's spin the wheel. We do find another Amped Raptor. That's so much energy. Oh, everybody, imagine Amped Raptor was still modern legal. Do make a lot of energy. Unfortunately, it doesn't cascade when we don't cast it from hand. But that's still totally fine with us. We are at 21 life. We do have 5 energy. And we can just swing in with our whole team. And we can even buff our Guide of Souls. So it's another thing with 3 power. Oh baby, what you up to? Let's just go in. And see if our opponent has an answer to anything right here. Another Bowmaster. So it can kill our Amped Raptor and double block our big cat token again. It's probably one of the better things our opponent could have. But we still have a lot of pressure right here. Does our opponent double block? Our opponent double blocks again. That's a free block of the small one, but he still takes 3 more damage. Opponent moves to combat. Maybe he attacks with Tamio to make another clue, but probably he's just passing through, which he does. We do find a Goblin Bombardment, which is one of our better draws. So we have a lethal right here, even through removal. Nice! 3 and 1. Let's see if we can go for a 4 and 1. Match number 5. We have 3 and 1 right now. If we had one more land or a good cantrip to find another land, this hand would be absolute gas. But as it is, I think it would be too greedy, so I will mulligan it. And I'm kind of happy with this. We do have double cantrip, Mockingbird, double of Ajani. I think I will get rid of one of our cantrips to have more threats and potentially overwhelm our opponent. Let's just see what he's up to. Opponent plays a Yorion, so he's probably a land deck. Yes, exploration, second land. Let's see where our Ponder takes us. We do find a Force of Will, and we do find even more Ajanis, but I do like that Force of Will for now. So let's keep it. We can use just pitch our Ponder or our Mockingbird most likely to the Force of Will and start playing Ajanis next turn. This is one of the matchup where Watsy being so tame with Ajani does kind of hurt, because his ultimate is not a real Armageddon. Cataclysm? What is it? I don't know. I think Cataclysm? Yes, because it does not destroy the lands. Oh, nice! We do have our planes in hand. That's absolutely great. So yes, I do have to use this ability because we don't have a land on top. Oh, we are missing a land drop. And we do have to find a second land. Opponent plays a Life from the lawn. That's absolutely disgusting. I don't know if there's a way out of it for us already. But I will keep fighting. Maybe if we can sneak in a Guide of Souls into something, but with just the planes right here, opponent being able to play Life from the lawn and getting a Ghost Quarterback, I think the game is already over. Damn! That hurts. That hurts. Yeah, opponent just grabs back those lands. Okay, that's a quick one. On to sideboarding against lands. I have no idea what to do. Does Consign to Memories stop this thing from appearing? I think it might, and Surgical Extraction against Life from the Lawn also does sound pretty good. Force of Will sounds miserable, so does Stays. Force of Will against one of his early things might be necessary. Swords Plowshares also does not sound too good. I will try it like this. Let me know in the comments what I should do different. As you guys have heard a lot this league, I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. I'm just figuring it out as we go, and this doesn't sound too bad. Maybe Consign doesn't do anything against our opponent, but we'll find out. Game number 2, our hands looking pretty decent. We will keep this. We do have Ajanis, we do have Consign, and we do have Ponder. I think I won't Ponder right now because there's nothing we're really looking forward to, and maybe there's something I can consign this turn. God knows. There is something I can consign, and I definitely will take my shot at doing this. But I can also just consign the trigger on the board, but that does not really matter, so I will just put the Mox Diamond in our opponent's graveyard. Let's consign it. And let's move to our turn, hopefully. Opponent has a Pithing Needle. What does he name? Opponent names... Is it the Ajani backside? It's Arid Mesa. Okay, we are lucky. Opponent tried to go for a nasty blind hit, and he did miss. Let's grab a Tundra, let's play Ajani, and let's just start hitting our opponent as fast as we can. Opponent's turn. Do we have anything, opponent? Opponent plays an Oza Saga, that's a pretty good one. But he does not have anything else. And our opponent is locked on colorless mana. Maybe we play another Ajani, maybe we play Ponder into Guide of Souls. I do like the sound of that. Those look pretty okay. I do want to draw the land maybe right now. Just put the Mockingbird on the bottom, let's grab a land. We can play Guide of Souls and have Consign up. We can stop our opponent from doing things again. And next turn we do have Mockingbird or Ajani and still have Consign backup. I do like the sound of that because stopping Urza Saga from searching things. Sounds kind of nice. Opponent passes a turn. We like the sound of that, so we will just play Ajani. Date and consign. Let's keep the new one. Place our triggers on the stack, make some energy, make some cats, flip our cat. Yes. Gain some energy. Make another cat, gain some more energy, make another cat, gain some more energy, and now we can even attack our opponent in the air. We would attack with a small cat as well, even though our opponent can kill it with the Urza Saga, but I don't really care about that. So let's just hit him in the air with our Guide of Souls. If our opponent trades a construct right here, I am happy with that. Opponent appears to trade, makes a construct, and trades, yeah. Don't really care about that. Now the big question is if we should stop our opponent from tutoring with the Urza Saga. And me not having any idea what our opponent could possibly have right here, most likely something like an expedition map to grab his other combo piece. I think I want to stop him from searching. Now opponent does just make a construct, so there's nothing scary happening this turn. Let's just make him another 2-2. Especially because it's only 2-2 after him not gaining the energy right here. Not getting another artifact, I mean. I think that's pretty good. Next turn we can play Ajani, zero Ajani, and pump another thing to fly. Opponent has a Wasteland, does not really matter. And now we also have the Mockingbird, so let's use our Mockingbird to make another Guide of Souls. Make some more energy. Play Ajani. Make even more energy. Opponent scoops. On to game number 3. In boarding, I think I did like the consigns right here, so I will just keep them in. Maybe fourth of will could be good by stopping stuff on the draw turn 1. It could definitely be better than Days. I can definitely see that, but I have no idea, and I think Days is a card you don't really cut. So I'll just try it again like this. Game number 3. Our hand looks decent enough. We do have a Daze, we do have Ocelot and Guide of Souls. I think this might be the first game where we have those two. And I do like the sound of making a lot of creatures and going wide under opponent. Our opponent does have a really impressive turn 1, has the Exploration, has Wasteland and the Urza Saga. So we are in a lot of trouble, and I think the Wasteland means we have to ponder right here to make sure we find another land. And we do. So let's put the Ocelot on the bottom. Let's take the Amped Raptor and draw our land right here. Because our opponent definitely will just Wasteland us. He did not Wasteland us right now. That's interesting. Opponent plays a forest. Wastelands us now. Okay. Did not really change a lot. Does he have a Life from the Lawn again? He does have Life from the Lawn again. That's pretty nasty. But we do have a basic Plains to grab right here. So we can still go Guide of Souls into Ocelot Pride no matter what our opponent does, unless he finds a Ghost Quarter. And if he does find a Ghost Quarter, then we are done. There's nothing for us to do. Opponent has a Sword to Plowshares. Rip our Guide of Souls. We don't have anything to do now. Opponent somehow mills his lands. What happened right here? Ah, he got back this. Yeah, okay. He got the loam back. Okay, he has loam for his combo pieces, so there's not really anything we can do. Does not go for the combo now, because he didn't have the mana, but our lone Ocelot Pride won't really stand a chance against a mighty Merit Large, especially because we don't have an answer for it. Opponent grabs the life from the lawn again. Grabs some more lands, I assume. Yes, and we are pretty much dead. 2 rights. That's Dark Deaths, that's the Thespian Stage, and even the Cradle. Now we find the Surgical Extraction. Unfortunately, you are a bit too late. We have nothing to cast. We can't block our Dark opponent's Pirate Lage. That was a quick one. But we did go 3-2. I'm not too mad about that. Have a good one, everyone. Suggest any decks and formats you want to play. Say hi to my cat. And see you in a bit.